Hello. In this short video, I'm going to answer this question. Is the economy self-adjusting by using aggregate demand, aggregate supply model? So let's see this diagram that shows a recessionary gap. That is, the actual real GDP is less than full employment level of GDP. Is facing a problem of unemployment. Now, there are two ways to solve this problem. One, using several government policies, right? For example, federal government can also increase its expenditures, or federal bank or central bank of any country, state bank of any country can also intervene and devise monetary policy to solve this problem. But it is also possible that this problem of unemployment can be solved automatically or through self-adjustment process. So we are going to discuss this self-adjustment process. Let's see this and read this. Whenever a country is facing a problem of unemployment, that is, if the country is experiencing a recessionary gap, wages will fall. Why? Simply because of high unemployment rate. So if there is huge unemployment, and I'm assuming that if wages are flexible in both direction, upward and downward, then employers will offer workers a lower wage rate. Why? Because they know that there's so many workers who are unemployed. So when wage rate decreases, assuming that wages are flexible, we'll discuss later in another video that wages are not flexible sometimes because you sign a contract. So for that period of time, your wage rate is fixed. So, but we are assuming here that if wages are flexible, particularly downward, then this decrease in wage rate will actually decrease the cost of production, because now employer can hire workers at a lower wage rate, which means at a lower production cost. That would in turn shift the aggregate supply curve to the right. So there's a rightward shift in AS curve. Why? This red AS1 curve will shift automatically, continuously to the right because of the decrease in wage rate. And why wage rate is decreasing? Because of unemployment in the country. So this aggregate supply AS1 curve will continue to shift until it intersects the aggregate demand curve at full employment level of output. So aggregate supply shifts right until full employment is reached. So real GDP is higher. Of course, there's more production. Why? Because of the low cost of production. And prices are also lower, because you can see the prices are also decreasing from T1 downward. This AS1 curve and show you how the problem of unemployment is taken care of through market forces simply. So I shifted aggregate supply curve to the right, AS2. Notice there's no gap now, because the equilibrium real GDP, which is the intersection of AS2 curve, the new curve, supply curve, and old AD1 curve, is also at the full employment level of real GDP. So there's no problem of unemployment. So this economy is self-adjusting. This is the case for a recessionary gap. Suppose if the economy is experiencing an inflationary gap, what would happen? So there's no role of government here in this case. The government is not intervening and solve this problem. Since there is an inflationary gap, that is overemployment, the economy is overemployed. So the employers are employing workers. Faced with high demand, firms produce above their normal capacity because they're producing more than full employment. And it is difficult for those employers to hire more workers because there's already overemployment. Nominal wages, that is factor prices, or factor price of labor will rise because employers are running after workers. So workers now in a position to ask for higher wage rate, if assuming that wages are flexible. That will increase the production cost and shift the short-run aggregate supply curve leftward to the left. So the curve, this AS1 curve, will shift to the left. Why? Because wages are increasing. Why wages are increasing? Because there's overemployment. It's very difficult for employers to find workers. So they have to offer them, in order to attract them, higher wages. And because of this, cost of production is increasing. So aggregate supply curve will shift to the left. Let me show you here. So when I shift the AS curve to the left, AS2, the new equilibrium will luckily be at full employment equilibrium. So there's no inflationary gap, and the gap is eliminated without any government intervention. Thank you.